What is up, guys? Welcome to another YouTube video. Today what I'm going to talk about is my experience at USA's and kind of everything that was going on and things that were going on in the background that I never really openly talked about on social media or on YouTube, and just kind of like how it all went. First, what I'm going to do is we're going to have the actual stage footage in this video as well. Let me explain a little bit about like what was going on kind of leading into the show. So as you all know, as you've followed me, I did the Wasatch Warrior, won the overall in Classic Physique, and then we took a small break, about four or 5 weeks, just like kind of just maintaining, not necessarily like ramping cardio up. We increased calories. We kind of started to peel back on cardio, just giving myself a little bit of rest and recovery, not necessarily dieting super hard. And then we restarted prep because there was a 14-week gap between Wasatch Warrior and USA's. And that was kind of rough, honestly, like really, really rough, actually. So part of the takeaway from this whole process is that those long preps and like huge gaps in between shows is definitely not something that my body accepts, and that it's hard for me in my relationship with my wife and just mentally really, really, really taxing. And that kind of leads into the whole experience and what was going on. By the time that we kind of restarted prep, my mind wasn't there. I wanted to go into the off season. I wanted to be normal. I wanted to have cheat meals. I wanted to have more food. I wanted to give my body rest because cardio was so hard. Dieting and continuing to diet was so hard. And just mentally, I was just not in prep. And where your mind is, your body will follow. And my body was fighting. I was craving things all the time. It was really hard not to, pick on things here and there and like have like, an extra wheat thin or something from like our cupboard. And it was just, I wasn't having fun and I wasn't enjoying it. And I've always said, if you're not enjoying this, why are you doing it? But, I said that I was going to do it. I made the goal. I wanted to turn pro. I wanted to do USA's. But it wasn't working. And about a month out, my body started to have a really negative reaction. I would get extremely nauseous after my fasted cardio. I'd get nauseous after eating. I was like nauseous all day. I was exhausted. I was wiped out. My mood was absolutely horrible. I wasn't fun to be around for my clients. I wasn't fun to be around for my wife. I had no sense of humor. Every day was just like suffering. And then like the last 2 or 3 weeks, I was having to get pep talks from my bodywork guy, Dylan, from my wife, from my friend, Isaac, just to keep going one more day because I wanted to quit. And the big thing that is totally on me and 100% my mistake and that I'm fixing going forward, I did not communicate this with my coach. I did not actually tell him how much I was mentally suffering, how much I was physically suffering. There's a difference between being tired and exhausted because of prep and just like not recovering very well, but being nauseous all the time and your body rejecting and you losing weight but not losing body fat and not getting leaner, that is a sign that your body is fighting back and you need to reset and probably pull out of prep and get healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and then go back into prep, months to the next year. But I was just being stupid. I was being a stupid bodybuilder. I was just putting my head down and just being like, I got to keep pushing. I got to go harder. I got to push. I got to push. I got to push. It's like, mama didn't raise no bitch kind of mentality. But I wasn't asking for help. I wasn't going to my coach, who's an Olympia level coach, who's experienced this, has worked with pros who have experienced this and who could have either given me advice or told me that, yeah, we need to pull out. Your head's not in it. This isn't, we're going to end up on stage with shit soup, which is what we ended up doing. So I pushed through. We made it to peak week. We flew to California, and from the time that like the morning that we left and flew out on Monday to with 48 hours later, 36 hours later, when I checked in on Wednesday, I had lost 10 or 11 pounds. I had gone from at like 233, 234 waking up in the morning to 221, 221, 222. So like I lost 10 pounds and I had no idea. Like diet didn't change, didn't do any extra cardio, wasn't taking any additional fat burners, didn't mess with sodium, dehydration, water, anything like that. I just lost it. And initially it actually looked pretty good. I looked leaner. I had more detail. Like my glutes really came in. My lower back was pretty crispy and looking pretty good. So we just kind of took it for what it was, and just like, okay, well, we seems like we just dropped a lot of water, so that's all good. But then the big issue is when we got to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, when the carb up starts. I was eating a ton of carbs, a ton of food. We actually planned to front load and then just kind of maintain that through the show. But we ended up carbing up for the full 2.5 days. But everything was just going straight through me. Like nothing was getting into my muscles. And as I was eating more, it was like my muscles were getting more and more deflated. And I was losing the definition. I was losing the lines. I smoothed over. And by the time that I got on stage, it looked like, honestly, I was like 6 or 7 weeks out with how smooth everything was. Like I didn't have shoulder detail. My chest wasn't striated. I had no pop to my to like my back, like at all. My back smoothed out on stage, and it just nothing worked. Nothing went right. So now at this point, we're gonna cut to the stage footage. So I'm gonna jump over into the stage footage, give you guys like so you can kind of see. But it's like the first time I hit, like I'll talk about it after. But let's go to the stage footage. Okay, so there's a stage footage. As you can see, if you go back and watch, I looked somewhat decent. I mean, I obviously did not look anything like I did at Wasatch, but I looked somewhat decent the first time I got on stage. But then each consequential time that they brought us back out for posing, I got flatter and more watery. I just was like a deflating balloon. And by that last time, like when I hit my back pose, like you can see it. I had no definition. My back was completely smooth. No veins, no striations, no muscle separation. Like, doesn't even look like I worked out my back ever in my life, which really freaking sucks. And then I had those skin folds on my lower back, kind of where like that crease and where I, rotate back and bend through the lumbar, and like that's a clear sign that I am flatter than a pancake is when that skin bunches up. So it was just rough, and yeah, I ended up getting ninth out of ninth in my class, last place, worst I've ever done at a show, worst I've ever looked at a show. And I don't disagree with the call that the judges made. Everybody was way more conditioned. Like, I still think that I have way more potential and way more kind of like runway than a lot of the guys that were competing there. Is that like I think I have a higher cap to where I could possibly go with like my career and possibly making it to the Olympia, just based on like my shape, my genetic structure, and like all that. But it was just like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And like when I got off the stage, I had to like sit in the hall and try not to have a panic attack. And like I texted my coach and I apologized and said like I think I just got last place. And then my dad, his wife, and my little baby sister, they came in to watch the show, and my dad gave me a hug. And for like 10 minutes, I like 5 or 10 minutes, I just cried into his shoulder and just kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I just felt like I let everybody down, and my wife was trying to be there for me as well. But like, it was really upsetting. But it's a lot of it is on me, is like, I wasn't honest with my coach, with where my mental was, with how I was truly feeling. And in all honesty, in all reality, I should have pulled out of the show. I should have got healthy and then regrouped and potentially did the end of this year or go into a national show next year. But I didn't, and it just honestly turned into a really, really expensive weekend. And then within those 24 hours, I cried more than I had all year, like in like everything that I had repressed, all the guilt for putting my wife through the prep, losing our dog right after prep start, like everything hit, and I was a mess. Every freaking thing was setting me off and making me cry and making me break down. And yeah, and then yeah, so it was really, really hard, guys. And it's just, it's a lesson, but it's, I said this before, say it again. I may have been beat, but I am not defeated, because I'm not giving up. I am taking a step back. We're going to take about 18 months off, improve the physique, still grow, build the density, and just improve where we can improve. Which a lot of it has to do with just building a lot more thickness and maturity, and that just comes with time. It's just building that muscle and then just letting it sit and letting it mature on your physique. So that's why we're taking such a wide gap between these shows. But I'm looking at doing nationals at the end of next year in 2025 out in Texas, if it's still out in Texas. So that's kind of the plan going forward. Is right now, eat more, train hard, get good blood work, get cleared, start an off season, put on some more tissue, build the shape even more, build up the legs even more. Because that was one thing that, like, even if I came in at my best, my quads are not up to par with everybody else's. So my legs can definitely get a lot more improvement. And then just, filling out the frame just even more, so I can not only come in better and more shapely, but also have a lot more detail to the muscles, a lot more leanness, and just have the muscles pushing out a lot more. Yeah, and so there's still some lessons and like everything that we're still pulling for like, for example, I think what happened is that we actually needed a lot more food and probably like a dirtier kind of carb up, because when I had a burger and fries between the morning and the evening, when I was kind of getting ready for the evening and pumping up backstage, it actually felt life in my muscles, where I was kind of feeling just like that super deflated, kind of like I have nothing inside of me feeling in the morning. And obviously that's reflected, but yeah, I think I just needed a lot like denser caloric food sources. But you know, it is what it is, guys. You take the lessons, you take the hits, and you just roll with it, and you just come back better. And that's all that we're going to focus on, is just coming back better. So anyways, guys, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for following me on this journey. We're getting back into YouTube, posting 2 times a week. The next video will be my competitors who competed this last weekend, but I appreciate you guys. We'll get back into the training, the nutrition, the supplements, education, and following my journey. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, and I will see you guys in the next video. Wednesdays, Saturdays are when we're going to be posting. But I'll see you guys in the next video, which is the show day video for my clients Casey and Wyatt, who competed 1 week after I did USAs. Yeah, so catch you in the next video, guys. Peace out. Bye.